You should, are you
Start.
recording?
Yeah, mate.
Yes, people, welcome back to episode 57 of the Catabolic Window podcast. We've got some absolute spinners coming for you this
Is
week.
it
And
is it 57 first of all? Also, nice spinners joke. We'll have to explain that. I don't think this is 57, mate.
I swear it is. I
Nah,
swear it
nah, nah.
is.
I feel like we're coming up to episode 60.
Aaron, you better be fucking listening to this, mate, because that's what that reference was talking about. We were just talking about that. I'm gonna be using spinners on the regular now. Such a
This
fucking
is
good word.
59. You were wrong. We're coming up to
What?
60. I know.
I said 57 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you have. 57 was us talking about our 2025 preps.
Oh
58
my
was
God,
talk
that's
about
embarrassing.
mindset towards training and all that. And then 59 is happening in front of us right now.
Yeah, and it's a shit show already. Jeez.
Just want to mention this. Oh my god, bro, we have 16 five-star reviews. That is actually mad. I didn't know we had that many.
Yeah. They fucking love us,
I don't
mate.
even know
Jeez.
16 people. Jeez.
I, I don't, they must all hate us. We
How
need more.
has?
Fast. Get us more reviews. We're not even thankful for the ones we have.
Yeah, we're not.
Get
We
us
want
more.
more. We'll be thankful when we get to like 1600. All right? Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
consider being thankful.
That'd be perfect. That'd be
How's your week
perfect, yeah.
been, mate? Anyway, or your last 2 weeks? Give us a quick rundown. Any key events? Try not to be boring because my week was pretty boring.
Uh
Bodybuilding gives very boring small talk, doesn't it? Because it's just the same thing.
yeah. So I fired Christian. I was like, fuck this, man. I'm gonna coach myself. No, it's all good. Is it all good? So I've been coaching myself for what, two, let me look at my sheets. 2.5 weeks. Yeah, two and a bit
Good.
weeks. Not too bad. Not too crazy, I don't think. Wait.
And for the viewers at home,
Yeah, 2.5.
for the viewers or listeners at home, because we're very, very big advocates of coaches, and obviously you are a coach yourself, would you like to talk a bit
Am I?
about would you like to talk a bit about misconceptions of self-coaching or kind of what led you to self-coach? Because it's very obviously not something we would recommend for everyone. So what's kind of give me the reasons why for the people at home. Maybe give some advice for anyone thinking of self-coaching and maybe when they should, when they shouldn't. You're on the spot.
Uh, why did I decide to do it? Because I've been learning from people that know what the fuck they're doing for like almost 3 years,
Hmm.
and I've gotten a pretty good handle on what the fuck I should be doing. So I felt that I would be confident sort of managing things myself, and not to sort of gloat, but I'm not someone that struggles to be consistent. And I think that's the main reason why most people get a coach is they
Okay.
need accountability in order to be consistent. Whereas I'm sort of like, yeah, this is the fucking plan that I've set myself, so I'm gonna do it.
So when you say that you well, obviously we're going to kind of ignore the fact that you're a coach, and based on your experience and your results, it's very obvious you know what you're doing. But would there be maybe because I'm sure you see this all the
Sure.
time, you're going to understand where I come from with this, where people claim that they know what they're doing all the time, and then you look at them and maybe talk to them, and you're like, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, I get
So
you.
is there any kind of, I guess, metric or idea that you would look at to kind of go how do you measure if you really know your shit? I've got a few ideas if you want some thinking time.
Oh, dude, I literally wrote a thread about this to post tomorrow while I was in the gym because I was looking around. I was like, I've been at this gym like a year and a half, and most of you look the same.
Yeah.
Like that's the
That's what let's talk
metric.
about today.
Have you changed? Have you changed in the last 6 months?
Mm,
Like at all?
mm,
If you haven't changed, or the person that you're listening to hasn't changed,
mm,
they have fucking no idea what they're doing.
mm.
All they could do is help you get to where they are, which is stuck.
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants to be stuck? No one. Like
That's a
that's
very good
that's the
point.
metric of know what you're doing is can you make fucking progress?
Mm.
It's a bit
I think
aggressively.
a very big thing that coaching process encourages that people lose when they don't have a coach. First of all, I would like to say this. If you don't have a coach, you are your own coach, okay? If you are actually invested in what you're doing, effectively you're self-coaching. So you need to treat yourself the way that a coach would if you want to make similar progress. There's a reason that coaching works. It's a process that works. Luke didn't just suddenly stop doing check-ins, stop tracking certain things. He wasn't like, oh, well, I got a coach because I really wanted progress, and he made me do all this stuff that gave me great progress. So now I'm going to stop doing it. No, he's doing the same things, but just with himself. Check-in pictures, log booking, tracking your metrics to some degree. Why are you sharing your screen? Oh, here we go.
So you can see this is all the shit that I'm doing.
Cover
Obviously, this
photos.
is a very hefty sheet. This is not the sheet that I give clients. This is the shit that I put together for myself. But if you're not tracking all of the stuff that you're doing, like Jack's saying, no
Yep.
wonder you're not fucking getting anywhere. You need to have it like written down, so to speak, in terms of what you're going to do and
Yep.
then actually do that shit. And you'll even see that on the side here, I filled out the sort of weekly questions of like, did you deviate from the plan? What went well this week?
Yeah.
Because that's all of the shit that's important
Yeah.
because it's very, very common for people to lie to themselves.
Hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Uh,
Like, yeah, I stuck to the plan. I didn't really deviate that much. What about that Domino's you had on Friday?
yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sound
No,
okay,
you
cool.
didn't. Well, maybe
What
you
the wide
did,
awake
but there's a
scale
reason.
still.
There's a reason you forgot. But yeah, like keeping checking pictures of yourself, not just pump pictures, not just always like the only time you look at your physique is like when you're off, when your t-shirt's off in the gym, and maybe you're trying to bulk and you just stay lean forever, and you stop tracking scale weight. You just kind of start to vibe around with your food. Yeah, I feel like I hear it all the time. I feel like I vaguely know what's in food. I write nutrition plans for a living. I literally still weigh my food. I still track my food because I care, right? I don't think I would ever get to a point where if I was bodybuilding, I would stop following some form of meal plan or my or macro plan, right? And same thing for Luke. I think me and Luke can look at a lot of foods and go, I can vaguely know what's in that, but we're still going to track our food. I can't imagine ever being like, oh yeah, I just inherently I'm going to keep that maths in my head. Yeah, I look at this bagel and I'm like, yeah, this many protein, fat, carb. Okay, add that to the to running total. Brilliant. Like, no, fuck that. You know. So I think when you are coached and you're forced to like, or not forced to, but encouraged to take pictures of yourself, look at your progression, look at how things are going on a week to week basis, you very quickly go, oh shit, I'm actually not adhering to the plan and I'm not seeing what I want. Whereas when people do their own thing, they just take pump pics like every few months and they're like, oh, I still look sick, so things are going well. And it's like, well, take that same picture and compare it to the one you took 3 months ago. You look the same, it's just different lighting. Or you've got a different pump. Delts look like they've grown. What did you train today? Push. Oh, fantastic. Wonder why they look like they've grown, mate. Because you've just taken a pump pic of them.
Well, yeah, like as soon as I made this decision, I said to you, I said to Tom, I said to the guys on the Physique Collective site, like, if I fuck it, call me out
Yeah, 100%.
because I will admit it. I'll admit that I fucked it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like,
It's
the last thing that I want to do is not make any fucking progress. Is
oh,
into making progress. What the fuck?
mate, that cut off a little
But
bit.
yeah,
Can you
I think that's
re-say
a really
that?
important thing to say.
Your
I was
Wi-Fi
thinking, why
cried.
are you not saying anything? I was outraged. I was like, you just ignored me, bro.
Nah, bro,
Uh,
Wi-Fi crying. Sorry.
but yeah, like I said to you, I said to Tom, I said to the boys on the Physique Collective site, that sort of thing. Like, call me out if I fuck it because I want to make progress.
Yeah,
Who doesn't
exactly.
want to make progress? And one of the most important things to do that is to circling back to what we said a couple of minutes ago, not lie to yourself.
Hmm.
And that starts with being honest about the most trivial shit.
Yep.
Like this is probably something I changed maybe 6 months ago, where I was like, I'm not gonna lie. And I think I've told you about we chatted about this guy a couple of weeks ago, Andrew Keeler. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Fucking follow him. He's awesome. But he tells this story about he'd been seeing a girl from the gym for a couple of weeks, and she storms over,
Hmm.
and she's like, "What are these messages?" And his ex had messaged her and basically made it seem like he was still with her or something like that.
Sick.
And he he just looks her dead in the face, and he's like, "I don't care about you enough to lie to you."
Damn.
Yeah, it's so you're on one side of the barrier there. The thing either doesn't matter enough to lie about it, or say the person you're speaking to matters so much that you should be honest with them anyway.
Yeah.
My progress matters a fucking lot to me. So even if I'm not going to try and save myself from the feeling that like I've disappointed myself by lying and saying, "Oh yeah, that sort of thing was okay."
Yeah. Ultimately,
So,
avoiding that short term disappointment of like, say you had 3 dominoes this week, but then you don't dwell on it. Okay, maybe you feel guilty for a day because you've let yourself down. That doesn't align with your goals. Okay, maybe let's say you own that up, you own up to it, feel guilty for a day, move on, you don't do that again. Whereas if you try and avoid that, you might feel guilty. That might lead you to doing it again, or thinking that that's okay. And then a few months down the line, you're going to look at your physique and be like, I haven't got anywhere. Now I'm really disappointed, and I'm disappointed for an extended period of time because I'm ages away from. Maybe you were dieting, and you're like, I was doing this for a holiday. Now I'm on holiday, and I look shit. And I'm miserable now. And now I'm disappointed for 7 days straight while I'm in Ibiza and I was meant to be getting laid or whatever you're doing.
whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
What did you just say?
Ibiza. Fine, Ibiza.
There we go.
Jesus, this guy.
Better.
Ibiza, right? And you were going to die at that. And now, instead of experiencing that, day, couple hours, maybe minutes of disappointment, you've now fucked your holiday, right? And that's not what. Why did you feel guilty about eating the pizzas? Because you knew you were going to feel guilty later on. Because you knew that it wasn't what you wanted to do, right? And so you've made an active decision you've prioritized your comfort today over your comfort for an extended period of time. And I think a lot of people don't see decision making that way, but it's literally what you've picked. You've picked, I would rather be fatter than I want to be, feel insecure and uncomfortable, than consider the fact that I had too much pizza this week. That's the decision that you've come to when we're being honest, when we lay it out on the
You want a
fucking
Domino's,
table.
Jack?
I do want a Domino's. I'm
You
not going to have
tell
a
me.
Domino's.
I can tell. Yeah. It's a tricky one. So moving on from that, make sure you're honest about literally the smallest fucking shit that doesn't matter,
Yeah.
so that you can be honest about the big shit. Because if you lie to yourself about shit that doesn't matter, well, you're definitely going to lie to yourself about shit that's really important to you to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
So moving on from there, Jack. Okay, so things have been going well for a couple of weeks. You're making good progress, and
Yep.
then you start to see the scale weight stalls, whether you're in a deficit, whether you're in a surplus.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck do you do then?
Make sure
What
it's
do you do?
actually stalled is number one,
Obviously, I
right?
know, but, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, this is a hypothetical for the listeners or the viewers. First of all, make sure it's actually stalled. So we'd want to track it over maybe a week or two. We'd want to compare it to, have we stalled before? What happened then? For some people, they stall in a diet phase, you make no changes, it carries on. Did you change anything this week? Did you suddenly start eating your meals later? Or you've suddenly started drinking a litre of water before you weigh in, and funnily enough, you're now heavier? Silly stuff like that. Just making sure that, is there anything that we've changed that we can change back to get a fair and even comparison? And then if we have stalled, it's going to come down to making a change to go in the direction that we want. And normally we're going to change the thing that we hate the least or enjoy the most. So usually if we're bulking, we're going to add some food in. Which meal would you like to have food in the most? Or which meal would you hate to have food in the least, I guess. And similarly, if you're
that's a double
dieting,
negative. That to me.
yeah, that didn't work. And similarly, if you're dieting, you got to pick between moving more and eating less, or a combination of both, and deciding which one. There's no wrong or right answers. It's just whatever one you feel. Maybe you love a long cardio and high food, or vice versa.
Yeah, spot on.
Anything I missed?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
That was an interesting
No,
question,
just
by the
what
way.
I would add to that is like just to give people an idea of like how much change they should be expecting to see. If you're in a deficit, somewhere between 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week is going to be good for most people. If
Yeah,
you want to go above that, you're going to shorten the amount of time you can diet for. So it's just weighing that up.
but it's
Do
higher
you need a proper
risk
diet phase? Yeah, yeah.
and it's harder.
Or it's also, yeah, it's definitely harder. That's what she said.
And then in a gaining phase,
Yeah, and if you go above that, say 1.25%, then it's gonna be much more difficult. You're obviously gonna have to eat less food in order to do that, and you're gonna shorten the amount of time you can be in a deficit for before you're literally fucked.
ripped. Yeah, shagged.
Shagged. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely shagged. Absolutely shagged. Uh, and then what about surplus, Jack?
Surplus for most people, I'd say 0.25% to 0.5% per week is absolutely fine. And it's fine to have a couple of weeks where scale weight holds for a little bit. That's also absolutely fine. One thing that I do with clients that I think James Sutton did, if I remember Luke Harper talking about it. So a bit of Chinese whispers there, but we'll see if it's right. But say if your
You're not allowed
goal
to
is
say that
to,
anymore, mate.
you are,
It's called talent.
oh,
You're not
sorry,
allowed to say that anymore.
can I call it? Um, Eastern small talk or something. I don't know. um,
Definitely not, mate. That's even worse.
so say if your goal was to gain 10 kilo in 10 months, and you're at month 8 and you've gained your 10 kilo and body weight stalls, okay, maybe you hold there for a little bit just to kind of even out that average scale weight gain. So James Sutton, again, if the talking through the telephone is correct, would try and kind of look at the average gain that you've made across a few months, obviously not an extended period of time, instead of week to week. And I think that's a pretty good way to go. Let's say that recently you're, because we can't always control how quickly scale weight moves up. If it moves up a little bit quickly and it stalls, maybe just hold there for a little bit, assuming that everything is fine. But yeah, generally 0.5% to 0.25% a week is absolutely perfect for most people.
I would also add the caveat there that Luke Harper is about 6 weeks out all the fucking time. So
Well, yeah, he's
if,
a big fan of
if
maintenance for maintaining scale weight. He's been like 190 pounds for ages, which is crazy.
yeah, ludicrous, ludicrous,
But
ludicrous.
it does go to show that you don't need to chase scale weight all the time, which is reassuring. But particularly when you're a younger guy and particularly enhanced, then you really don't have to chase scale weight. You just pick a number you like on the scale. Maybe it's 300 pounds, and just recomp there for ages, and you'll be fine. That's a joke.
Dude, I would literally be a bowling ball if I was 300 pounds.
Get to 300 as a natty and then just recomp. That's what Dr. Mike did. To be fair, he got to like 250 or 260 or something. He's just recomped the
Yeah,
entire time. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So moving on from there, I think a good thing to discuss as well would actually be just like planning out what the fuck you're gonna do. I think that's an
Yep.
important part is to have a long-term plan, not just what are you doing this week. So how would you what are the different phases that people could go through, Jack? Just to put
Well,
that one on the table.
I mean, it depends where your starting point is. For most people, I would say a nice little gentle deficit is a pretty good place to start, as long as you're not absolutely shredded. Gets your appetite nice and high. It's quite rewarding. You get to see your muscle, which is quite cool. You're going to be new to training, so your progression is going to be pretty high anyway, assuming that you're very, like, we're talking like gym beginner here. And then I would probably do that for, I don't know, let's go for a nice, easy 4 to 8 weeks, maybe 10 at the most. And then we might take a week or two to hold body weight, just make sure that we're not rushing our way into a surplus, and then slowly progress from there. And if your goal is to gain as much muscle as possible, we might be looking at like 16, 20 week plus surplus. You might set yourself a minimum, like, hey, we're going to be doing this for 20 weeks minimum. And then based on how your body weight goes from there, you can kind of have a look. Do I look phenomenal? Are my genetics insane? Can I do another 20, another 10, 5, whatever? And then if the answer is no and you need to diet, then I would probably go into, again, a nice little slow, steady diet, assuming that you keep things in a reasonable composition, maybe another 4 to 12 weeks, just to kind
Yeah, and
of,
if you stick to those sort of rate of gains that we outlined previously, you're going to be able to go through each phase for a good chunk of time.
yeah,
And especially if you're someone who is a little bit less consistent, like you're pretty busy with work, so you miss a session here or there, or you might miss a meal. You might like a few more off-plan meals than we would say, okay, is going to be optimal.
yeah.
Then keeping that rate of gain on the lower end can be pretty nice so that you don't get really fat really quickly. And I'm someone that likes to sit at that end anyway, because otherwise my appetite just says fuck off. Um, but interestingly, this week, actually, this would be another great topic, Jack, is that literally from one day to the next, I went from 160.4,
Yep.
which was on the lower end for that week, if that makes sense. I was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
161 still, and then it dropped down a bit, and then up to 161.8, and I'm now in the
Damn.
162 4 days later, and
Damn.
it's like, oh, okay, what do I do here? Do I like panic? Do I pull food? Do I do more cardio? Like, what do I do? No, just do fuck all.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what I notice, especially when I've been in surplus a while, is I won't gain anything and then I'll gain a pound. And it's not, you can't go, oh, well, if you gained a pound overnight, it must all be body fat. Like the processes in your body which lead to you getting fucking massive isn't, I train my back today, so it's going to grow for the next 2 days. I've trained my back twice a week for the last fucking 3 years. It's growing continually over that period of time. You just spike it up, it grows a bit more, and then it keeps on growing. It keeps on growing. It keeps on growing. So you don't need to panic. You don't need to make any fucking rash changes. Just keep going. If it's like a continued thing where you're like gaining way faster than you want to for several weeks in a row, okay, do something about it. But if you've been diligent, you're not fucking lying to yourself. That's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, it's very rare that you would see a constant increase, but a little bump up is perfectly fine. Let's say you've been training for a while, things getting a bit stressful, lifts are getting heavy, work's getting intense. Um, maybe food's getting a little bit higher than it usually would be. It's very common to have a bit of an inflammatory response to that, to stress, to training, to all that stuff. If you're like me and you get quite heavily fatigued by training, or Tom's an even better example, he drops like 10 pounds when he
Yeah, yeah.
deloads. So it's quite common to see those little like spike ups towards the end of a training block. So for him, that might be a sign that you need to deload if he starts gaining like 2-3 pounds like consistently. But yeah, there's a lot of things that do influence how scale weight sits, and it's always going to be a range. You're never going to be like, I am Luke and I weigh 160.4. You're going to be like, how much do you weigh? And you'll be like, well, do you want this morning's weigh-in, do you want the average weigh-in of this week, or do you want the range that I generally sit in? Because you're never going to be
They're
like
like, I
from
don't care. You've asked me too many questions.
but I think people think of it as like your height, where it's like, because it often is used as a metric like that, where it's like, what's your height? 5'9". Doesn't really range. Like, yeah, it does, but to really small degrees. Whereas like body
What
weight,
shoes am I wearing?
yeah, exactly. And exactly, mate. Am I in Air Forces? Or who was it that, I think it was Keno that was like, I had a mate who was 5'9" and he said he's like 6 foot in Air Maxes or whatever it was. He told me to use that. I forget what it was. Anyway, but yeah, so your body weight is going to be like a range that you sit in. Like currently, I'm like 205 to 208. It's like a 3 pound fluctuation. And if you think about
That's
it,
big
that's
boy.
like just over 1%. It's not that crazy of a fluctuation when you view it as 99% stable. Let's rephrase it that way. Like that's pretty good. But yeah, it's pretty normal, like you said. And people think of these
That's a good
processes.
way to frame it.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
really like that. Yeah, big
Like
man.
people think of like these processes as very linear. Like I dieted today, I lost some fat. It's like you're gaining fat, losing fat, building muscle, and losing muscle all over your body. The net change in that is what defines how you look. So like it's an ongoing process everywhere, right? So you might have lost a gram of muscle today. Let's talk really, really, really big numbers. You've lost a gram of muscle today, but you built two. So overall, you're up a gram. Let's say that you've dropped a gram of body fat, but you've put on half a gram. Okay, well then you've lost half a gram of body fat. Again, these are huge numbers that we're talking there, but your body isn't just burn fat, build fat, burn muscle, build muscle. It's constantly happening all the time, and the net differences in that. It's kind of like if you had a really active bank account. It doesn't just sit at a number and then a chunk comes out or goes up. It's like up and down all the time.
Our
You're
bank accounts are always going up, mate. Double the price.
Jeez,
Yeah, yeah.
fucking
But
double the
like
price.
your day to day is like you're looking at shit through a microscope where it's
Yeah.
going up, down, up, down, up, down. And over time, it's sort of steadily going up. When you look at it on, say, a week to week or even month to month basis, that's what you'll see, providing you're doing shit right, is that you'll see things steadily increasing. But when you really, really zoom in, there are some days which are better and some days which are worse. And going back to what you were saying earlier, actually, about the like the fatigue and the scale weight jumps.
Yeah.
This week, I haven't had this in ages. I've had the leg day soreness where you get more sore, like as the
Oh
days go
yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, man.
Horrid.
And
Horrid.
that's something as well. It's like sometimes you are going to overdo it, and you just learn from that. I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have a set of leg extensions and a set of walking lunges this week. It'll be fine. No, it's not. It was not fine. I was not fine at all.
Yeah, mate. That's like fatigue is a funny one as well. So like I'll quickly wrap up on this. Like say if you had a really hard leg day. Like I usually the day after leg day I weigh in a bit heavier, and you might think, well, it's a really hard leg day. I probably burnt way more calories, and it's the normal amount of food I would eat on. But yeah, but I'm also inflamed from the fucking waist down. I'm like full of inflammation from the waist down. Of course, like my legs aren't the smallest things in the world, so when they carry a bit of inflammation, no comments from you, mate. When they carry a bit of inflammation, it's gonna weigh something, right? And you can imagine that if you've got fucking Tom Platt's quads and you train them to failure with a lot of volume, the next day you're probably going to be substantially heavy or heavier. Yeah,
Spot on, mate. Spot on. Nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed it.
mate, this has been a productive pod so far. I'm breaking the
I
flow
know.
by talking about it, but it's been a damn
Should we
productive
chat
pod.
some shit now, just to even it out?
Yeah,
To be
go on.
helpful.
Has anything happened recently, like in fitness or in bodybuilding? Has anything been going on? trying to think anything relevant.
Uh, I dumbbell rode the 30s today. That hurt, but it was nice. Do you know what? Dumbbell row is a really underrated movement
As
in
in
my
bent
opinion.
over, upper back.
No, upright, mate.
No, like because I think of when I think of dumbbell row, I think of like the single arm variant that's like very lat focused.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done that in years, man.
Love that thing. It's a very light movement. It's very easy to get very strong at. So it's kind of shit in a lot of cases.
What, single arm dumbbell row?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like bent over both arms at the same time. It's
Oh yeah, I way prefer it to barbell. Having the ability to like not be locked in to
Oh yeah, because I'm
one
going
plane.
through it and my hands are like dumbbells touching at the bottom and then they're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all the way out.
exactly.
I can never do that with a barbell,
Yeah, you
obviously.
can diverge. I like to be a little bit more tucked and less pronated. And having a barbell when I'm fixed into again being parallel and being pronated just doesn't feel nice for me.
Mhm.
Like I can make it work, sure, but like I kind of almost have to guillotine it to make it work, or like grip it kind of weirdly where like my hands are kind of on it at an angle. But yeah, for sure, man. Dumbbells are just yeah underrated. People underrate free weights nowadays. I think.
So going back to the coaching yourself discussion, I guess,
Oh yeah.
is it's very common for people to not stick to shit for long enough to see what works. So
Yes.
like say I added in that dumbbell row, carry on with this example, and first week my back was in like pieces in a bad way.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe I do that next week. Maybe I do something chest supported instead. If it was a bit okay, I'll try it again next week and I'll see how it goes. And if it's better, that's a good sign. If it's still a bit I'd probably just see it out for the training block because
Yeah.
it's not like got any bad problems with it. It's just an okay exercise. Not every exercise you're gonna do is gonna be amazing all the time.
Yeah. I think another thing to note though is if you did try the dumbbell row and it was feeling a bit meh, you would probably look at okay, why does it feel meh? Can I make any adjustments to make it feel a little bit nicer? So if you were to watch back your form and you're like, this is horrendous, this is way too yeah buddy, as the cool kids say, then you might,
Oh
tidy it
mate,
up.
every time I see someone do that, I'm like literally like jump off a bridge, please.
What, yeah
Like
buddy
why?
rows or what?
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? Like literally, why are you doing that? That is the equivalent of saying, you know what I really want today? To build less muscle than I could. Great. What a great deal.
Yeah, I think the main argument for it, right, that I've seen is it makes you go heavier, and even holding that kind of bent over position with a maximal weight or a very heavy weight is going to hypertrophy your erectors a lot. And sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
because isometrics are really good for muscle growth, aren't
yeah,
they? Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
it's
Sound.
a it's a very heavy isometric, which is better than a lighter isometric. But there's also just plain old better ways to grow your erectors. Like you wouldn't do a heavy bicep isometric to grow your biceps. You wouldn't if you're trying to build abs, you wouldn't just be like, yeah, I'll do a plank and just chuck some like plates on my back, or I'll do a push up hold right before the bottom and just put some plates on my back. Like no, you would want a concentric and an eccentric. You want a movement where we're changing lengths. So I think it does come down to, and like, I think Finn has a very good idea on it where he's like, I'm going to grow off it, not as effectively as I could, but it makes me enjoy training. Fantastic, mate. Brilliant. But there's people doing it
Yeah.
thinking that it's more effective or it's some secret or it's like the secret to density or something. It's like, no, just train your erectors. If they are a real issue for you, actually train them. For me, hyperextensions are my hinge of choice because I need to build erectors, and that's the only one that I feel in them. So I do hyperextensions.
Yeah, dude, put me on a 45-degree hip extension bench and
Yeah,
I will fuck your erect like nobody's business.
mate,
Like
exactly that.
that, I literally get off that and I'm like, I'm actually disabled.
I
Like
was
it's ridiculous.
I was filming a reel today where I did like really heavy cheat curls, and I compared it to like incline dumbbell curl, and I did incline dumbbell curl first, so I've not got a pump for it, right? And I went straight in. There was no, I struggled to connect my
Mhm.
biceps. I got like 10, 12 kilos, and just after like
They
two
are small,
reps,
to be fair. I'd struggle.
yeah, mate, after like After like doing like 2 reps, I was feeling it already, and I was like, oh my god! And I did really heavy cheat curls, like the 20s and the 25s, and I was like, I don't feel anything. I feel nothing. Like, oh yeah, sure, more load going through my biceps theoretically. Yeah, I'm holding a bigger weight. That doesn't mean more load is going through them. I'm literally feeling it less. And like, yeah, feel isn't everything. But if
Yeah,
I've got one curl that I'm able to go super duper light on and connect fantastically with, I'm gonna go for that one. Whereas the other one's probably just gonna beat up my shoulders and elbows. I did start to get a front delt pump towards the end because I was like properly trying to fucking swing it.
oh yeah. That's what we call not ideal, mate.
Yeah,
It's ideal. I filmed so many reels today. Well, not so many reels, but like,
footage for reels.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
do
be
that.
like 2 or 3 reels. You're gonna love one of them, mate. So it's about bad coaching practices. And at one point, I'm like, okay, same again next week, bro. Only changes. I've doubled your price, so please send that over to me next week.
Oh, tag me in that, please.
Yeah, of course, dude. You're gonna love it. They're so funny.
I was going to say
I
you should have put
fucking
the Team Archer logo on the sheets, but I realised no, because people are going to take that the wrong way. That would be like,
calling you out, bro.
yeah, career
Jeez,
suicide a little bit there. Jesus.
courageous.
You should put, no, that'd be so funny if you indirected some coach. You took their logos and you like put it on your sheets for the shit coach example. That'd be jokes.
Yeah, who should we call out?
Oh god, don't get me started,
Got
bro.
3 minutes. Let's call some people out. It would be great.
Christian Chapman. I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Outrageous. Jeez.
Who would you call out in the coaching scene? I do have a couple of names, but I don't really want to say.
No one comes to mind. Oh, mate, your story the other day.
Oh, which one, mate? Oh
Your
dear.
private story, watching the coaches in
Oh,
grafters and
mate.
train.
Oh, there's there's a few coaches, and I follow like
That
some of
got
them, and
me, bro.
I follow their clients, and I see them training, and it's like, you know, when someone is a coach just because they look good and they don't actually know what's going on. I was thinking about this today. I was like, I was doing a set, and I was like, I wonder if some of these coaches could explain to me why I'm building muscle right now. Like, why? Like, I've beat the logbook, but why does that build muscle? Because I feel like if I asked a lot of them, why am I building muscle right now? They'd be like, because you're stronger. And I'd be like, okay, so I'll bench heavier for my 1 rep max. And they'd be like, no, for reps. And I'd be like, okay, but why? You know? Like, I wonder how
Never asked
many
them.
grafters
They
and
don't know what's going
coaches could answer that. I don't know. Do you have a few like really popular coaches that train at your gym and then you just look at how they train and you're like, oh my fucking god, how are you a coach?
No, not really. I mean, Lewis Future Physique trains at my gym, and he trains really fucking well. So,
There.
you know.
Do you mean Lewis Pro Coach?
Oh fuck yeah, he changed his name, didn't he?
Yeah, bro. I love his
Well,
physique. Incredible guy, honestly. Yeah, I think
what blows my mind is he does like 3 sets of quads a week. I'm like, what the fuck? I
what?
don't.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
so funny.
the quality of
So
those
I
sets is
wasn't
outrageous
spoken to
though.
him about it.
Sorry, what was that? You cut out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. And something that's really important when you're coaching yourself is that you fucking train well. So film yourself and make it better every week. Just filming yourself and it looks just as shit every week. Like you might as well just not film yourself.
Yeah.
Job done.
Like remember that your actions need to
Great
align with
podcast,
your
mate.
goals. Like fucking if you the amount of people that I'd if before they got on the hack squat I asked them what they were doing there, they'd say, I'm trying to grow my quads. And then if I waited till they finished their set and showed it back to them, I'd be like, does this look like you're growing your quads? I bet 9 out of 10 of them would say no. Because so many people fucking train like shit. So make sure that what you're doing actually lines up with what you're trying to do. If your goal is to build muscle, train like it.
Spot on. Nailed it. Share us on your stories. Drop us a DM if you want to speak to us because we have no friends.